Shalom, peace, basically east towards Jerusalem, or should I say Yerushalayim. Kol halal Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai Ba'Shem Racha Dash. Bonus to the elder apostles of Great Millstone, as well as honor to the men, the elder apostles of Great Millstone. Shalom to the elect. This video is to do with the topic of mixed multitude. The mixed multitude in the books of Moses, like Exodus 12, Numbers 11, is talking about non-Israelites. The mixed multitude are non-Israelites that journey with the children of Israel in the wilderness. An example of non-Israelites are the Egyptians. So yeah, the mixed multitude were non-Israelites that journeyed with the Israelites in the wilderness. Exodus 12, it talks about the keeping of the Passover. The exodus of the Israelites. Exodus 12:37 through 38. And the children of Israel, the Israelites, journeyed from Ramesses to Succoth, about 600,000 on foot, that were men beside children. And the Israelites journeyed from Ramesses to Succoth, about 600,000 men, besides women and children. Verse 38. And a mixed multitude went up also with them, and flocks and herds, even very much cattle. Notice that the mixed multitude is numbered alongside cattle. When you look at this mixed multitude, it's a reference to non-Israelites. NLT. A rabble of non-Israelites went with them, along with great flocks and herds of livestock. An example of non-Israelites are Egyptians. NIV, many other people went up with them. Many other people of other biblical nations, like Egyptians, and also large droves of livestock, both flocks and herds. A mixed crowd also went up with them, along with a huge number of livestock, both flocks and herds. And then when you go down to verse 42, on the ordinance of the Passover, the Passover was to be observed by the Israelites only. It is a night to be much observed unto Yahweh, the God of Israel, for bringing them out from the land of Egypt. This is that night of Yahweh to be observed, all the children of Israel in their generations. Exodus 12:43. And Yahweh said unto Moses and Aaron, unto Moshe and Aaron, this is the ordinance of the Passover, There shall no stranger eat thereof. Now in the law there's two types of stranger, an Israelite stranger, like an Israelite that was dwelling in a strange land, living outside of the land of Israel. And then the other strangers talk about one of the other 17 nations, like an Egyptian, Mizrahi, an Ishmaelite, a so-called Arab, and so on. Nakar. The Hebrew word here, nakar, nakara. I'll just transliterate here. Sorry, my keyboard is in the dark. Let me just see the Bible. Nakar. This Hebrew word is talking about someone who isn't an Israelite. Foreign, alien, foreign, established, foreign, alien, foreigner. Heathendom, alien, stranger. So this is talking about someone who isn't an Israelite, period. Meanwhile, Gar is a reference to an Israelite stranger, a temporary inhabitant, a newcomer, lacking inheriting rights. Strangers, and particularly the Hebrew word Gar, was a reference to Israelite strangers who had less citizenship rights because they were dwelling in a strange land over the Holy Land, which is the land of Israel. All foreigners in Israel though conceded rights. You go to Exodus 2:22, looking at the name of Gershom, who was a son Moses had with the Midianite woman. Exodus 2:22, and she bare him a son, and he called his name. Okay, I'll start at verse 21. And Moses was content to dwell with the man. The name of the man is Reuel, who was a Midianite priest. Exodus 2:21, and Moses was satisfied to dwell with the man, was satisfied to live with the Midianite priest Reuel. And he, Reuel, the Midianite priest, gave Moses Zipporah his daughter. Verse 22, and she, that is to say Zipporah, bare him a son, birthed Moses a son. And he, Moses, called his name, the name of the boy Zipporah, birthed him Gershom. For he said, I have been a stranger in a strange land. When you look at this name, Gershom, it goes back to, see Gar, you see that word here, Gar, which is reference to stranger, Israelite stranger, Gershom. Gershom. Foreigner, firstborn of his own, he was a son of Levi. Because Moses goes by, Moses is of the tribe of Levi, and Moses had him, you are where your father is. If your father's a Levi, you are a Levi. See, Gershom's father, Moses, was a Levi, that made Gershom a Levi. A son of the priestly family of Levi. And it can't be Phinehas, because Phinehas was the son of Aaron. It's not talking about the Gershom of that one. It's talking about Gershom, the son of Moses. So Exodus 12:48. Going back to Exodus 12. Exodus 12, the ordinance of the Passover. Exodus 12:43, where it says, "There shall no stranger eat thereof." This talking about a stranger of the other 17 nations, like an Egyptian, a Moabite, Ishmaelite. Exodus 12:44, "But every man's servant that's bought for money, and this is the word, thou circumcised him, then shall he eat thereof." And who's this talking about in verse 44? This is talking about Israel's servant you paid. Whereas Israel's servant that you paid to serve you. When thou circumcised him, then he shall eat thereof. Exodus 12:45, a foreigner and a hired servant shall not eat thereof. And this is a reference to a non-Israelite in verse 45. Verse 46, in one house shall it be eaten, thou shalt not carry forth all of the flesh abroad out of the house, neither shall you break a bone thereof. All the congregation of Israel shall keep it. Verse 48, and when a stranger shall sojourn with me, remember Gershom, the son of Moses, why he was called that, because Moses had him in a strange land. And when a stranger shall sojourn with thee, shall stay with you, and will keep the Passover to Yahweh, let all his males be circumcised, then let him come near to keep it. And he shall be as one that is born in the land, for no uncircumcised person shall eat thereof. Only Israelites were commanded to keep the Passover, and Israelite strangers, Israelites born in the land outside the land of Israel, they didn't have the citizenship rights that the Israelites that won in the land had. They stayed with the Israelites in the land, to keep these certain high holidays that to be in the land for 3 times a year shall all thy males appear before the Lord in places shall choose. Deuteronomy 16, right? One of the days were the time of the Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread. On a strange shall join with thee. When you basically look at the word here, it's the word gar. Page 6016. Which is a reference to an Israelite stranger. This is a reference. Exodus 12:43. Non-Israelite stranger. Exodus 12:48. 44. Israelite stranger. The Israelites were the ones commanded to keep the Passover. They were the people who the God of Israel made a covenant with. Leviticus 26:46. These are the statutes and judgments and laws which Yahweh made between him and the children of Israel in Mount Sinai by the hand of Moses. Yeah, you had heathens that travelled, not Israelites that travelled with the Israelites in the wilderness, but they weren't the ones who the God of Israel made an agreement with. He made an agreement with his people Israel. He gave them his law, statute, commandments. Also, in terms of like the treatment of servants, get Leviticus 25, servants as slaves and that. He had to treat Israelite servants well, and not let me just get the passage. Leviticus 25:35. And if thy brother be waxing poor, and fallen into decay with thee, then thou shalt relieve him. Yea, though he be a stranger. We look at the word stranger here, what you get? Gar. So again, it's a reference to Israelite. Or a sojourner, one who's staying with you, that he may live with thee. Verse 36. Take no usury of him, take no interest of him, or increase, but fear thy God, that thy brother may live with thee. So if you've got a brother that's down and out, you ought to relieve him of his poverty, have him live with you, give him money. Leviticus 25:37. Thou shalt not give him thy money upon usury. You lend money unto him without interest, nor lend him thy victuals. Victuals is a reference to food for increase. Verse 38. I am Yahweh your God, which brought you forth out of the land of Egypt, to give you the land of Canaan, and to be your God. Verse 39. If thy brother by thee, if thy brother that dwelleth, that liveth by thee, be waxen poor, and be sold unto thee, thou shalt not compel him to serve as a bondservant, to serve as a slave. Verse 40, but as a hired servant, but as a paid servant, and as a sojourner, one that's staying with you, and he shall be with thee, and he shall serve thee unto the year of Jubilee. The year of Jubilee is the year you will let them go. Verse 41, and then he shall depart from thee, both he and his children with him, and shall return unto his own family, and unto the possession of his father shall he return. And it tells you why in verse 42, for they are my servants which I have brought forth out of the land of Egypt. They shall not be sold as bondmen. Verse 43, thou shalt not rule over him with vigour, but shalt fear thy God. Vigour is harshness. You don't rule over an Israelite with harshness. You have to fear God. And then he talks about the other nations in verse 45 and 46. They can be our possession. We can have them as bond slaves, basically as slaves, and you can treat them harshly. See, Israelites that are poor, you help them out, you treat them well, you don't lend to them with interest. They're your paid servant. But heathens, non-Israelites, you can treat them shit, and you can have them as bond servants, bond slaves. Also, Numbers 11:4. The people complain, and the mixed multitude that was among them fell a lusting after the food in Egypt, and the children of Israel also wept again after the mixed multitude, of course, and said, who shall give us flesh to eat? And then they complained about the food they had in Egypt, because they preferred that variety over the manna that the God of Israel was giving them. Anyway, the mixed multitude were Israelites. Hopefully this video was edifying. Until next time.